and shows off because they were speeding. They broke the speed limit. That tells me he's a little bit dishonest. They park outside in the disabled parking. Their mindset is not quite 100% honest. This creates an impression as an investigator of the rationalisation of the individual to commit fraud. If I need money for school fees, I'll go to a bank and borrow it. That's my rationalisation. A fraudster thinks a different way. He wants it now. Rationalisation. Are you standing up like there's a shortage of time? Good. we had an injury time as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we do have time.
What about the opportunity? The opportunity is where you guys come in. Where there is an opportunity, a fraudster will act. The opportunity is a breakdown in the systems, a gap in those controls that you are putting in place. You're in the prime position to see that opportunity creating itself. Where you've got pressure, opportunity and rationalisation, very high risk of fraud. When you have two of them, it's risky. When you have one of them, it's risky. Where you have three, this is where you focus. So when Coca-Cola call me in and say they've got a lot of transactions and there's something funny going on, before I even start downloading data, I look around the room at the people. I look for anybody who's under pressure. Somebody that's been speeding and parking in disabled parking areas. I look where there's no segregation of duties. This gentleman is receiving the checks, banking them and signing them off and everything. Quite quickly, within the first hour, you can get a pattern of fraud risk. Get a pattern of profiling a fraudster. This fraud triangle actually does equate to a fire. You have heat, fuel and oxygen. Think about a fire. If you take one of those away, it goes out. So you've got to control. You've got to control this pressure from an HR angle. Make sure you're not recruiting fraudsters. Make sure you're paying people holding cash enough. Make sure you've got a staff helpline if there are financial problems and divorce and things like that. HR covers these two issues. Opportunity is the controls. That's you and your auditors and your risk managers. The fraud triangle was extended by this gentleman very recently. Capability. Capability was brought into it. Some people are not capable to commit fraud. I'm British. I spent 8 years in South Africa with Ernst & Young, which I thought was the fraud capital of the world. There was a lot of fraud going on. I moved to the Middle East. Very different culture. Sometimes I think that the Arab culture does not have the capability or the mindset to commit fraud. Various reasons. Very religious. Their culture is one of family values. Where I'm from, Abu Dhabi, they have not had the need to steal because they've been so wealthy. So various cultural issues, but capability comes into it. The capability of somebody is not that they are sitting in front of the cash, but their mindset, how they've been brought up, their values, how they respect their parents. If their parents have been great train robbers, they're more likely to be so. So we look at capability as well. Here you go. Their position, their function, their brain pattern, how their background has structured their brains in terms of honesty. Confidence, ego. Confident people are more inclined to be fraudsters. Look at those people driving the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris and the gold around their neck. Coercion skills. Fraudsters are liars. Look at their skills of coercion. They're trying to persuade you. Effective lying. An immunity to stress. A fraudster goes to bed every night. There could be a knock on the door, putting them in jail for 10, 20 years during that night. They have to be immune to stress. If you notice somebody who's not affected by stress, again, doesn't mean they're a fraudster, but all these factors build a profile. This is the iceberg theory of dishonesty, which is profiling a fraudster. We have an iceberg here, and this is the sea. Above the iceberg, we have visible signs of key indicators. So we have the hierarchy. There are various surveys. 85% of fraudsters are in the organisation. Most are over 5 years service, above management level, many over 10 years service. So experience, length of service and hierarchy is more risk of fraud. Don't look at the tea lady who's just started. She's not materially stealing things. Financial resources. You look at financial resources, you do the asset resourcing test. Goals of the organisation, skills and abilities of personnel, technological state of how the controls, are they technically controlled? Performance standards, somebody that keeps breaking down in their performance reviews, somebody that keeps having excess sick leave and lying about it, they are all indicators. Efficiency measurements, somebody who's not efficient, who's not getting bonuses, he needs to steal the money. But look at the covert aspects. Covert is those hidden, those within his brain. Attitudes, people's attitudes, their feelings, their values, their norms, how they interact with people, supportiveness, are they satisfied with life? These are some of the things we need to look at while we're profiling a fraudster. Almost finished. This is the last slide. It's your choice. It's better to drain the swamps than to fight the alligators. What I hope we're doing in terms of fraud nowadays is, in terms of fraud training, is sensitizing people like yourselves to the nature of frauds, what's currently happening in the world. I believe if you can see and identify how a fraudster changes these details on the checks, you'll be more careful when you're looking at checks next time, when you're adding up your checks that you're receiving and you're paying. So, yeah, you know, this is being proactive. If you're reactive, you're going to get eaten. If you're being proactive, you drain the swamps. This will be on the website, I believe, and I've got my email addresses there. You're very welcome to quickly make a note now or go to the website and take a note of my email addresses. Fraudtraining@hotmail.com is the easy one to read. If you've got any questions at all, you're welcome to do it, but I've not finished yet. What I'd like to do now is show you a 4-minute video, and I will talk you through it. There's no sound, I'll talk you through it. It's a video of how the fraudster changes details on checks using chemicals. I'll talk you through it. Have I got control of this? Yeah, a second. Just got to find it, it's in the middle. Right. Can we drop the lights a little bit at the front now? Right, these are everyday chemicals you buy in a chemist shop. This is a magnifying glass. This is a pencil eraser and crayons. We can drop the lights at the front. Crayons like your children use, normal crayons. This is a hypodermic needle. Where's my pointer? Now what we're trying to do here is change the details on the check. Remember, if you can change ABC to XYZ, you can put it in XYZ's bank account. This is a needle. The ink sits on the top of the paper. If you can scrape it off, you can change the writing. Very easy to do, but it leaves a mark. It is leaving a mark. So we now use a pencil eraser, a normal pencil eraser, but this rubs off the background to the check, the pattern on the check. This is where we use the crayons. Now I'm going to speed up the film now. I'm doing exactly the same, but I speed up the film. That can be a bank stamp, removing a bank stamp. If you can remove a bank stamp, you can put the check through again. Now we're going to look at how the chemicals can do a similar thing. The check is payable to ABC. This is acid. We put acid on, and you'll remember from your chemistry studying, what neutralizes acid? Alkali. We put alkali on to neutralize the acid, so that the acid doesn't burn through the paper. It stained the paper. We need to use a bleach. The fraudster uses a bleach. The bleach gets rid of the stain. ABC becomes XYZ. That easy.